Hey, Mark Rodriguez here. This is the Review Sanctum, where everything and anything may be reviewed. And today we're talking about the latest book from X53 Studios, the same people that brought you Arachna. This is Goshawk and Falconet. And yes, this book came out pretty recently. I believe it was on both Indiegogo. Then after a while, they had like a Kickstarter campaign, and I think that the people that ordered from Kickstarter, they might get theirs like a little bit later. I'm still seeing emails that are saying that, you know, the final wave is coming out and everyone should get their copy before the month is over. So there's a very good chance that you might not have gotten your copy yet. I got mine pretty quickly because I jumped on this right away. You know, thanks to the goodwill from Arachna, whenever I see a project of theirs, I'm going to just jump right in right away. So I got my copy pretty quickly here, and I do understand there will be some out there that have not gotten theirs just yet. So be warned, there will be some heavy spoilers. Now also, I do apologize, the character, the name is actually pronounced Goshawk, based on one of the cards in the back or whatever, but I always thought it was Goshawk, just due to the spelling. I always thought it was Goshawk, so please forgive me if a couple of times I might like stumble and say Goshawk by mistake. When I say that, I'm referring to Goshawk. So anyways, the story is about this married couple, Goshawk and Falconet. They go fight crime in the city of LA, and I don't believe they have actual physical superpowers. They have like, they got these discs that go on their back that are called wingens, which is like winged engines, and the wings retract from there, so they use that to fly, and they got utility belts and tear gas and tracking devices and stuff like that. So I believe they're more like with their gadgets and stuff and the ability to, you know, fly around and all that kind of junk. I don't think they have like actual physical superpowers. They're just very athletic. They're of course very well built and stuff. They know how to fight and everything, so they kind of rely on their own skills and devices. Now, unfortunately, while they're out in costume, they're all lovey-dovey. They're like dancing the tango with each other while they're kicking ass and stuff like that. In their personal lives, though, the marriage is in trouble. So, Goshawk's real name is Baron Gunn, and Falconet is Sierra Gunn. They live in the Gunn Mansion, and their hideout is called the Bird's Nest, which is under the mansion, kind of like the Batcave kind of thing. And unfortunately, Baron is so like into the superhero stuff and the inventions, and you know how it is, always making something better or repairing their vehicles, whatever. Just super focused on the superhero side of things that he barely pays attention to Sierra. And they even have an argument where Sierra's kind of like you probably wish I was in costume 24/7, because that's like the only time you ever fucking talk to me. You don't even touch me unless I'm in costume or whatever, and that kind of crap. So yeah, there's lots of arguments there. They're very distant in their personal lives, so that's kind of bad. And it even gets to the point where some of their like own friends are even saying like, yo, don't take it for granted, man. You know what I mean? So like if it gets to the point where your own friends kind of notice, that's not good. So they're fighting against this bad guy named Black Parrot that has a henchwoman named Secretary Bird. Yeah, I don't know about Secretary Bird, but while they're fighting them, they find out that the real bad guy they're working for is King Vulture. And if you guys haven't noticed, I don't know why, but for some weird reason in this story, like everyone has a bird theme. The heroes and the bad guys, they all got bird themed names. So I'm kind of curious about that. I wonder if we're going to take it all the way where future issues has even more bird named enemies or whatever. But anyways, to get to the point here, these bad guys were escaping in two convertibles. And due to the previous argument they had last night, you know, they're kind of sort of not on the same page as they're trying to catch these criminals. So the cars go in different directions, and Goshawk is like, I'll go after this one, you go after that one, but don't engage. And Falconet's kind of like, yeah, whatever, you know. So she's not like into it completely. So she goes after them. She's sure she's got the situation handled, but then King Vulture comes in and takes her down. And she, King Vulture knocks her out and takes off all the tracking devices or whatever, so they can't fight her that quickly. But he also takes her mask off, and the big thing is that when he takes her mask off, he recognizes her. And unfortunately, due to them, I'm assuming they're, you know, since they're rich and got a mansion, they got big parties, they're kind of well known in LA. Unfortunately, he figures out that, okay, so if Sierra's Falconet and she's married to Baron, that means that Baron has to be Goshawk and stuff like that. So now we got a hell of a situation where Goshawk has to somehow find out where Falconet's being kept, while at the same time this bad guy knows them both personally, while they have no idea who he is. And of course, that's the mystery. Will he find her, and what's going to happen, and who is this bad guy, and how does he know them personally? How does he know Sierra and Baron? You know, and what's his like beef with them and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting, pretty good book. So the art's pretty cool. It's a lot more bright and colorful compared to like the Arachna one. It's like different art teams. I'm assuming they're different writers. I didn't check, but I'm assuming they're different writers and stuff like that. And, you know, a lot of good action scenes here and there. Of course, in the X53 studio style, there's going to be a lot of cheesecake there. So Falconet's always, like, you know, going in and out of costume, or she's in her bikinis and stuff, swimsuits. It makes sense because I guess in her normal life, I don't know if it's in the past or she still is, but she's like a swimsuit model, so it makes sure, you know, makes sense she'll be in her swimsuit a lot. And you know how it is, the camera is always focused on interesting angles, I shall say, for the cultured gentleman out there. And surprisingly, despite the fact that Arachna itself, that book also gets risque, here we actually have a panel when they're like flat out going at it, so that might surprise a couple of people who are not expecting that. But overall, with all the content and stuff discussing these books were never really meant for younger readers to begin with, you know what I mean? Lots of innuendos and stuff. So, you know, I just say for people that are not, I guess, expecting cheesecake or don't like cheesecake in their stories, there'll be a lot of it here. And of course, Secretary Bird is also, you know, she's doesn't know how to button up her blouse all the way up, you know what I mean? So, you'll get lots of that. Now, one thing also surprised me about the book is I'm surprised, and hopefully don't get in trouble for this or whatever, I'm surprised they flat out mention names of like existing products and things. You know, comic books usually to like prevent copyright, like instead of saying Burger King, they'll say McBurgers or whatever. One of my favorite examples is one of the old original Mask comics, you know, like The Mask. One of the guys came back from Jack in the Snack instead of saying Jack in the Box. And to this day, my brother and I like to joke and say, yo, Johnny, let's go to Jack in the Snack, you know, because obviously we know what they're referring to. But here, though, here they mention Tesla. In fact, Barron got rich, like, dealing with Tesla and getting, like, Tesla stocks and stuff. They flat out mentioned Elon Musk, which is kind of surprising. And there's a scene where Falconet, you know, she gets captured and stuff. And the bad guys are streaming, you know, like their demands, their ransom, you know, the typical, you know, come get her, bring the money or else kind of stuff. The guys are like, oh yes, Falconet's very hot, you know, way higher than any other streamer out there, higher than any Twitch streamer or OnlyFans girl you see. And I'm like, wow, I'm surprised they're just, you know, flat out saying Twitch and OnlyFans instead of saying something else like, I don't know, Glitch and, I don't know, for the fans, or some kind of, you know what I mean, some kind of derivative and stuff like that. So I kind of hope it doesn't get them in trouble down the line. I kind of hope, like, I guess Twitch and those don't complain or whatever. Offhand, I don't remember Arachna ever doing that in her series. I'm sure, I'm going to have to double check, but I don't remember her having any kind of product placement or any kind of thing, so I don't know. And another thing, yes, Arachna does make a cameo. There is a scene where Baron is chilling and watching videos of Arachna doing her own superheroics and stuff like that in her town. And yeah, so this does like confirm that Arachna does exist in this same universe that they're trying to make here with X53 Studios. So it's pretty interesting. Other things to note, lots of fighting here and there, good action, good art. I kind of feel that some of the secondary characters, they could have like expanded just a bit more on them, because later on when it comes to a point where it's kind of like, you know, like Baron's trying to figure out, okay, who do I know that might know who I am, and Sierra and stuff like that. There's like a page of all these people, and for most of them, this is like our first interaction is seeing these people, and some of these people don't get proper names in their first panel, so you're not finding out their names until now, until that page. So that page does help with that, but it would be kind of nicer to kind of find out a bit earlier in the story with more detail. I mean, yeah, there's a little scene when they're in the party and stuff like that, but I don't know, I just feel it could have been a bit more detail here and there. And the only other minor nitpick is just the vehicles. The vehicles could have had, instead of having these weird acronyms and stuff like that, I would have preferred if they're just called, you know, the Hawkmobile, the Hawk Jets, the Hawk, I don't know, Falconet, the Falco Cycle or whatever. They all got weird names and stuff. So, so that's it, you know. So really, not too many nitpicks. I do like the story. I do like the more personal thing. I also like how it's kind of like when the first couple of pages start, they're lovey-dovey and they got the hearts and stuff, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, okay, we get it, you're in love, okay. But then you find out that no, the marriage is pretty rocky in real life, so it is kind of curious to see like how that goes along with the story and this mystery villain. I'm not going to spoil it, but this mystery villain that somehow knows who they are and what to come to expect in future stories and stuff like that. And also with the technology, of course, it does also open yourself up to find out like what other gadgets do they have. Like for example, Falconet had a utility belt, but we didn't really get to see what things she had in them. You know, we just know they got tear bombs, but we don't know what other kind of gadgets and things they had. So it's kind of interesting to see that. So I am looking forward to seeing more of this. And I got the same books here. So I got a couple of cards here. They got cards of Goshawk, Falconet, and King Vulture. And a couple of cards that are, shall I say, too hot for YouTube and stuff like that, as they usually do. There were a couple more prints and things, but I didn't get those. I just got the initial, what's it called, the initial campaign. And also, yes, they did announce that Arachna number 3 is coming soon. And also, you got another series called Vindicators, that as far as I know, it's like this cowboy type guy and this vampire type woman. So we'll see what happens with them. So I'm kind of curious about more of these characters and more of these things. So overall, it's a pretty good read. A lot of action. You know, lots of cheesecake for those alike. I mean, what can we say? Falconet be thick, yo. And you'll be seeing that thickness in all kinds of different outfits, poses, and, well, just flat out nude throughout the book. So if you really like that kind of stuff, you know, check it out. So, like I said, not many complaints that much, just the vehicle names and maybe a little bit better establishing the secondary characters here and there. Like we got the Lieutenant Falk that helps them out. He's kind of like their version of Commissioner Gordon, I guess. He's the guy that kind of helps them and kind of looks the other way while they're doing their crime fighting stuff. Like he's just called the Lieutenant a couple of times, or they finally call him Falk like halfway through the book, and we kind of need to establish that a bit earlier. So, like I said, minor nitpicks. Not enough to kind of ruin the story for me, but I do hope that, obviously as the story keeps going, we'll see these characters pop up more often, we'll learn more about them, but it's interesting, you know, to see that. And the only other nitpick I have, and it's not necessarily about the book itself, it's just like I guess the packaging. I don't know, the thing is, since these books are usually pretty fat, they gotta give us, I guess, stronger or more durable plastic bags to hold them in. I'm not sure, I'll compare, because I'm not sure if these bags are bigger than the usual comic book bags that you get, you know, from the comic stores or whatever, but I need a slightly bigger one because they're incredibly tight, and it's very hard to, you know, pull the book out and put it back in without it tearing up. And the one I got for Randomness number 2, that one's also kind of tearing up, and I can't even slide these all the way down because the bag is just way too tight. And I might actually have to look for a different bag for them because I know they look cool and people like to collect them and stuff and keep them. Some people may buy, you know, 2 copies, 1 copy to read and 1 copy to never ever open. But, you know, the intention is to open it and read it and put it back in. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. They got to do something with the bags for this and upcoming releases because I'm assuming that Goshawk number 2 and Arachna number 3 and all them, they're all going to be just as thick. So we'll see what happens. So anyways, guys, Mark Rodriguez here. This is the review sanctum where everything and anything may be reviewed. And stay tuned here because I love this series. I love the S53 Studios. So far, they're not letting me down. So any future Arachna book and Goshawk book and Vindicators book and whatever else they may come out with later down the line, I'll be here to read it and review it. So check it out. Have a good one, you guys. See you next time.